All right, good morning. Welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac here on 1010XL's podcast platform, 1010XL.com. The app, of course, the 1010XL app. The YouTube channel spread all over social media, live on Facebook, recorded also here in the 1010XL podcast studios. And my show brought to you by Team Tommy Mac. Check them all out at TommyMac.net. I'm wearing the Code Ninja shirt. Listen, man, they've got 5 locations now. Looking for a 6 out in the beach, up in my neck of the woods by Neptune Beach area, which would be fantastic. Get your kids out of your hair for a little bit this summer, you know what I'm saying? And throw them into a summer camp at Code Ninjas. They're going to learn all about coding, all about technology, all about the future, which is absolutely cool. And they go outside for a little exercise. So it's a well-rounded camp, and you can check them out at codeninjas.com and their 5 great locations. I'll talk about the others in just a little bit. Some to get into today. I was out at OTA practice yesterday. Enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, especially once they got going. They did a lot of team, a lot of 11 on 11. Let me tell you something. And Grammage, I don't think you've seen it live yet, but De'Ami Brown absolutely flies. I mean, I think if you lined him, Travis, and Brian Thomas Jr. up, he may win. He is that fast. He ran an end around. Now, granted, he caught the defense off guard. He ran an end around, and nobody came close. Not even close. It was pretty. You're like, wow, that guy's fast. And then you see him on team going in on the red zone. They do another end around. They read it a little bit better, but he still pretty much outran everybody. You know what I mean? His speed, and he's got good hands. Made a nice one-handed grab, was making other catches. It's going to be a trio, man. That's going to be a trio. If they can hold up front and really give Trevor some time. And by the way, the O-line and D-line, they were getting after yesterday. Now, it's not full speed. You're not in pads, but they were banging. Nobody was touching a QB. A couple times they would have. They would have gotten sacked, on Trevor and the other guys. But Trevor looked sharp. Put the ball in the right spot. It's funny. You can't win, and I don't really care, but I just think it's funny. I write, something positive, or I say something positive, about Trevor, and then it's like, just practice. I'm like, no, I know it's just practice. All I'm saying is that he looked pretty sharp in practice, in that forum of just in helmets, in a pretty live, other than, the physicality and the hitting. But the routes are live. The coverage is live. Buster Brown made a couple nice plays yesterday, covering Brian Thomas Jr. on one right over the middle. It was great. It was a good throw, put it in the right spot, but he just made a great play. But he was putting it in the right spot, which is all I'm looking for out of him. That because there's spots where the ball has to go the majority of the time in every single route to give your target the best chance to make a play after. Right? Quick slant out in front and not too high, right? You don't want him getting killed by a linebacker, right? If it's behind him or on his back hip, he's got to stop in his route. All his momentum comes, you know what I mean? It's a mess. You put it out in front of him, boom, he can take off and go. There's every route has a spot like that. So I was watching where he was putting it in the right spot. And again, it's just, it's it was 11 on 11. It's OTAs. It's not pads. He's not getting hit. But again, if they can hold up that protection, I think they're going to be okay. We'll see. He's got a lot, he's still got a lot to go. I noticed, I was talking to Joe C. There's a time he does this, Trevor does with his motion. He dips his arm down a little bit. You know what I mean? It's kind of a habit that he has. I don't know if that's good or bad. If it puts the ball in the right spot on time, I don't care how it comes out. You know what I mean? Like Phil Rivers threw it really kind of cattywampus, if you will, but he could put it where it needed to be. So, but yesterday was good. It was good. But it's funny how people are like, and then if I critique him, you're so hard on him. All right, whatever. I'm just going to keep right down and do it, Grammage. But I liked it was a crisp practice. They got after it pretty good. They were running around. I would personally, and maybe you can't today. I don't know or what the deal is. Maybe you run out of time, but I'd condition them. I don't know if they condition when the media's not there, like after practice, but I would condition. It's just a mindset. It's just like and it keeps you in shape. You don't got to kill them. I'm not talking like 1,200. I'm not talking anything like that. But if they're in back a half gasser a couple times, 3 times for a little time, just to get the heart rate up even more, and just, and then it's that mental toughness that it brings. I don't know. I think that I was waiting for them to condition. Now, granted, it's hot out there. They're running around. They may view that as conditioning. And maybe the guys go inside and run on the treadmill. Maybe they do extra stuff. I don't know. I will tell you, Trevor and the trio of wideouts, they stuck around and ran some extra routes, worked on the throws. So it was cool to see. Just Trevor and Brian Thomas and Travis and Diami, they were working on some routes. So that was good to see. I saw a really cool article. And D-Rock, great job. And I get when Sean McVay says Liam Cohen gets it, I totally get what he's saying. And, he learned. It's funny. Liam, it's so cool how and I'm not just talking coach, and anybody in anybody's life, how they get influenced by somebody, by how they act and how they treat other people, and whether they're in the highest power position or not, just how they are with people. And he in the article, and D-Rock, again, great job. It was awesome. ESPN.com. He's working on film. He's like the assistant quarterback coach maybe at the Rams at this time. And it's at night. And McVay comes in and says, hey, man, I just want you to know that you're really doing a great job, man. We really love having you here. And just keep up the good work. It's not going unnoticed. I'm paraphrasing a little bit there. And what it taught Liam, and Liam said, he's like, it taught me that I can do that. I can say, hey, man, I care about you, or I appreciate you, or, I can be myself. I don't have to be this image of a coach that's not, like, humanly touchable. You know what I mean? And it goes back. I'll tell you, it goes back. It goes back to, at least from my experiences, interviewing Dick Vermeil. That was his whole thing. That guy, for the record, Zach Wiegert, who came from the Rams, where Vermeil was the head coach, he came to us. And he was like, hey, listen, our practice is no joke or tough. He goes, Dick Vermeil's were 3 hours long. And they, even in two-a-days, and we conditioned every time, we hit every time, we were full pads all throughout camp. And he was so hard on us, so like tough. And then he'd get up in front of the podium and tear up about his team. And I'll never forget interviewing Coach. I just saw him at the TCJ Fund. He's such a great person. I used to interview him on Radio Row. I'd see him every year. He'd sit down with me. And one year he's pimping his wine. He's got this winery. And he had these 7 like keys to great leadership. And I don't remember 2 through 7. I remember number 1. He said, show them that you care. Just show them that you care. And it's so true. It's so true. He's part of how Coughlin changed up in New York. For me, it was like show him you care about him. You're not just the coach. You're in charge, but you show him your human side. Show him what you're all about. And I think that's cool. At age 39 to get that, you know what I mean? Now, Liam's got to win. We got to see it to believe it. I'm one of those. But I tell you what, man, to know it that young and to learn it at a young age, because let's be honest, everybody wants to feel that way, don't you? I mean, don't you think about it like in your family when you were a kid, right? Made mom and dad happy for whatever reason, played good in the game or got good grades, and they rewarded you. What did you want? You wanted to duplicate it. You want to duplicate it. When the coach would rap you on your backside for a good play, right? It'd send electricity up. You'd want to duplicate that, and as long as it was consistent, you would take the critique, right? It's funny. I've said this before. Coach Driscoll, who I had on one of my shows that didn't last very long, riding shotgun. But, I was telling him, like, you got the adulation should be the same as the critique. You can critique guys, people hard. You can. As long as they know when they do something good, that you're the first one saying, that's good. That's good. Good job. Right? Or a reward or whatever it is. Whatever it is. I don't care what business we're talking about. Anyway, so go read that article because that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I don't know Liam that much. Talked to him at the J Fund. Really cool guy. I watch him interact. I watch him with people. He's very genuine. He's very good with people. And he's got to win. There's no doubt. But hearing that's good, man. That means he's genuine, right? It can't be an act. You can't. Nothing worse than an act. Nothing worse than coming in one day and you're expecting something, and then the next day it's different. And then it's different again. Or they go back to just pick one. I don't care. You want to rip my ass every day? Be that every day. Right? You want to be my friend every day? Then be my friend. You want to be somebody that can critique me and be my friend? Very easy to do. And I think at every level, and we're talking the NFL here, but I like seeing that. So great job by D-Rock and that cool article. I liked how Liam talked about ETN. ETN had been out. Who else was? Anton was out yesterday as well. I don't know the dealio on that. Some whatever personal kind of stuff. Not everybody can make OTAs every single practice. I like what he said about Travis. I think you and I, Grammage, we feel kind of the same. Like, let's see what he can do in this offense, right? You're not looking to trade him right now. Why would you? You don't know what you got. By the way, Tank looks really good too. I have
Travis
to admit.
Etienne, not
Travis Etienne. I'm sorry, Travis Etienne Jr. Because Liam got up there and paraphrased like I don't know where people are getting this information. It's totally wrong. He's not going anywhere, type thing. But you and I have been talking about him weeks ago. Why would you trade now? Unless you got some incredible deal, you just couldn't say no to it. Let's see what he can do in this offense. Let's see what he can do in the open field, in the passing game. We know he's got a lot to prove. I think they all in that running back room have a lot to prove, right? Tank's got to prove that he can hang on to the rock. He looks good, man. He does, man. He looks like he did last year, right? Cutting that one cut, getting upfield, getting through that hole, showing that speed, showing that explosiveness, right? So he's just got to hold on to the ball. He's got a lot to prove. The young guys say, Tootin, what? I run a 4.3. Great. You were great in college. I know you ran all over my Boston College Eagles, but you got to hold on to the ball too, right? You got a lot to prove. And then we'll see about the other guys in the room. I'm looking forward to seeing. I haven't. You know what? I got to look for him maybe Thursday, the 7th rounder out of Q's. What's his name again?
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about, but
who's supposed to be really good in the passing game. I got to check. I didn't have a roster. I got to grab a roster maybe tomorrow and know who. I think I got everybody down for the most part, but anyway, I think ETN. I think
LaQuint Allen.
What's that?
LaQuint Allen.
LaQuint Allen. That's right. We'll try to remember that, LaQuint, and get in there, make some plays, and we'll never forget it. Right? That's what happens.
But also remember the guy they got a couple years back, the return specialist from Texas.
Yeah. What the?
I'm forgetting his name, but
no, number 36. Little fast dude. I don't know. You're gonna have to look him up. But that running back room's got a lot to prove, and it starts with ETN Jr. Because look, I mean, I'm of the fold that look.
Keelan Robinson.
One more?
Keelan Robinson.
Yeah, Keelan Robinson. Yeah. That's right. So it's a crowded room. He could be more of a specialist, return type guy, but nonetheless, those guys got a lot to prove. It's funny. We'll give some guys passes for the last coaching regime. We don't give other guys. Something was amiss last year. We're going to get into Eric Armstead. I'm not saying Eric's not telling the truth. It blows my mind that this would go on. But I want to keep with ETN for now. He's got to show that, man. This is he can be the lead horse. He can be used in a lot of ways. And Tank's sitting there going, well, hey man, I'm there too. I'm ready to go too. So I think it's going to be a fun competition. But I also think, look, the way the offense performed, it wasn't good enough. And I know with the zone running scheme, a lot of that's timing. And I swear that I keep my note. I think, I kept every game's note for the past couple of years when I go on Monday. And I can remember writing a few times, not a ton. It wasn't like every play. I don't mean it like that. But there were times where you're like, he missed that hole, or, man, he missed that timing. Because it's not taking you off the ball and driving you into the ground. It's more just getting your way so that back can get through. And it is that, you got 3 ways to go, and they don't want you, putzing around to make that decision. They want to say, oh, you got a front side, then hit that foot and boom, go, We'll see how Liam's run offense goes. We know it went very well last year with Irving and company down in Tampa. So,
There's a world where the biggest winner of this new offensive system is Travis Etienne.
Could be. I agree. Get him in space, man. Get him in space.
Ideally, it's Trevor Lawrence. But but I think, if Travis Etienne's the biggest winner, then that would subsequently mean Trevor's a huge winner. Because if they can run the ball again at 4, 5, 6 yards a carry, I promise you're going to see that passing game start to pick up and be far more efficient than they've been in a couple of years now.
Agreed. And listen, if Trevor hones in those routine throws, he's going to be dynamite. We know he can make the big play. He's shown that. He's shown that.
But it's to your point, we know he can make the big play in terms of the deep throw, dropping it, but we know he has that ability.
Right.
But to your point about routine throws, in my opinion, sometimes when he misses those routine throws, you miss out on an opportunity for a big play. Because especially now that you have Travis Hunter, who we know is as special as he is, Brian Thomas Jr. I think is going to really get down the field for them, even though he can do everything.
Yep. Diami can run, man.
Diami can really.
He can run.
So the point I'm trying to make is, if I got a slant where Travis Hunter or Diami Brown or even BTJ get a step on somebody, and if you hit them right in stride, that could be. Remember San Antonio Holmes?
Yep.
I've never seen somebody better at catching a slant right in stride, making the safety miss,
and take
50-yard touchdown. But if you throw it a little behind him and he's got to stop, or he's got to fight for now, if it's a catch at all, it's 4 or 5 yards, but that could have been 50 yards.
We saw it last year. You put it in front of Brian Thomas on a crossing route, and nobody. It's hard for that trailer to catch up to guys like Brian Thomas, Travis Hunter. Is that your phone? Whose phone is that?
No,
it's the office phone.
Yeah.
Trying to get us
right
on a podcast, man. But it will be interesting. Look, also with Trev, how many times maybe not as much last year because he was hurt, but even somewhere, it's third down and he checks it at the line to go deep, and the underneath route's open right at the first down or close to. He's got to, and I think Liam's going to he's going to hone that up. He's going to clean that up. And if he does, it could be a dangerous offense. Get the run game going, got these weapons. Let's not forget the tight ends. If the O-line holds up and if Trevor can hone in these things, it could be a pretty explosive offense.
What did Baker Mayfield talk about of why he was so successful in that system? He talked about how Liam made life mentally for him so much easier, and
he simplified it for him.
And I believe that a lot of it has to do with plays just like that. It's 3rd and 1, it's 3rd and 2. There's a good chance the defense is going to want to put some heat on you and bring it.
Yep.
So if Trevor has a better understanding, not because I'm saying he was unprepared or whatever, I'm just saying simply maybe that system just didn't cater to him really knowing how to get to a hot read quickly on a 3rd and 1 or 2. Maybe now he's a lot more aware of, okay, I know Etienne's going to be open for 3 yards here if I need it.
Okay. Let me interject if I may. Why was Trevor so successful in 2022 with Doug in his first year? Why? That was his best year.
Yeah.
Why, do you think?
In my opinion,
you remember how we would talk about it?
Yeah.
It was first reads,
and
they were open. Doug found a way to get them open.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
Not everything, but the majority of it. And he was very efficient with those throws.
Guys were schemed open on a regular basis.
Right. And we'd always say, man, they're wide open. Man, they're wide open.
And I would say as well, which aids that and makes life easier for a play caller to do that, is in 2022 they ran the ball by far the most effectively they did.
Without a doubt.
And that's a big, I think that was a big indicator because in 23 and 24 it became far more obvious they were going to throw it.
Right.
And a lot of those routes that had been schemed that people had seen, people were sitting on them.
How many bubble screens? Gosh,
correct.
Dang. I mean, and they were trying to use that as a running game.
Right.
Like that's an extension of the running game instead of trying to fix the running game. I don't know. And whatever. It didn't work out. But you're right. They ran the ball extremely well that year. Look, I think there's something to the fact that maybe after that first year with Doug, defensive coordinators kind of figured it out. If we shut down the run, if we close up those, first reads, maybe it'll be a challenge, because the line can't hold up. The guys are dropping balls. Trevor's off. Trevor's getting hit. I mean, it's accumulation of things, right? So but back to what I was just saying, if they can get that all together, they're gonna be interesting to watch on offense. They are. They've got some real talent. There's no doubt in the targets. The show brought to you by Team Tommy Mac. I already mentioned Code Ninjas. Make sure you check out, if you would please, TommyMac.net. You don't have to subscribe or anything like that. If you want to, you can, but you don't have to. But you can scroll down and see all the logos of Team Tommy Mac. When you click on their logo, it'll take you right to their respective website, and you can learn about them even more. I'll tell you this, they're always there when you need them. No matter what it is, these 11 will always be there. And I got room for more. If you're looking for some exposure out there, I'm your guy, no question about it. Carpet Man Flooring, Morgan & Morgan, Chris Lucero's Bail Bonds, J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling, Azar Sausage Company, Code Ninjas, Freedom Finance, Salt Air Inn and Suites, Newmark Phoenix Realty Group, Family Tradition Specialty Foods, and the Baracus Group. All very proud members of Team Tommy Mac, and I'm very proud to represent them. Real quick, looking around the National Football League before we get into Eric Armstead's comments. Frank Ragnow retires from the Detroit Lions, their starting center. In 7 years, he went to 4 Pro Bowls, a very, very good center. He retires. Looks like Tate Ratledge will get the shot at replacing him, the second-round pick out of Georgia, who we thought would have been a good fit here, I think. But, hey, we'll take Wyatt, and we'll see how that goes. But looks like Ratledge has a shot at taking over. Another former Georgia center, David Andrews, he had his retirement ceremony on Monday, played 10 years with the New England Patriots, and a very, very good center, very successful center, Super Bowl winner, etc. And he made a pretty interesting comment. He's like, you know what? I only wanted to play for one team. I don't want to play for any more teams. So I'm with the Pats. I want to retire as a Pat, and if it's my time to move on, then it's over. It's over. And we all heard cornerback Ronald Darby retires after 10 seasons, 118 games, 106 pass breakups for Ronald Darby, 10 season, like I said. He was second in Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2015, his rookie year.
Wow.
What happened to Ronald Darby, do you think? Are we blaming that on Nielsen, too? You know what I mean? Oh, it was Nielsen. Nielsen ruined Ronald Darby. I'll tell you what I think happened to Ronald Darby. You want to go first?
Sure.
Go ahead.
2 things. I think first, corner is a position that tends to not age well. I think we think of some guys that had these 15-year careers and what have you, and they were great. Like we think of, the Revises and the Richard Shermans and those guys. Corner overall, I think, is a really hard position to stay elite at, right? Because receivers are just so good, especially in today's world.
Yeah.
So 10 years is a long time, man.
For sure.
So I think that's part of it.
Okay.
A little bit of age, for sure, losing a step, what have you.
Okay.
Secondly, all that hockey rotation BS nonsense that was going on in the front 7, they couldn't get any pressure. Who's going to struggle? Your DBs. Football's not that complicated, Tommy.
Right. Right. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And to expand on it, though, go back to Ryan Nielsen's first press conference when somebody said, you're a man-to-man type concept coordinator, I guess. And he kind of went, I'm glad you think it's man. It's zone with man principles. So press coverage is zone, but with man principles, meaning I'm up on the line of scrimmage and I'm pressing them. I'm not letting them off. Well, every time that Darby got beat, most of the time, I should say every time, but most of the times that Darby got beat last year, he was in off coverage. They would play him off, and you'd be like, what? Wait a minute. Your whole game's around the corners pressing and dictating. His whole game is pressing. You can't get pressure on the QB, so you go to zone because you don't want to get beat deep. Because, if I'm pressing and I got no pressure, my guy's going to get burnt deep more times than not. You know this. So you had to change. Could that have been? And then Darby, I don't know why he's retiring now. Maybe he's like, I'm just done. 10 seasons is, I wish I played 10. Heck yeah, man. Double that pension. You know what I mean? I mean, it's big stuff. Good. I mean, hey, congrats to Ronald Darby for a great career. I know it didn't work out last year. It didn't work out last year for a lot of guys, including some on this team that are currently here. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, he sucked. I don't know, man. Something's wild. And that's what brings me to Eric Armstead and this whole thing. And by the way, I don't really care. I don't. All I want now moving forward is him as my 3 technique, right? It doesn't matter. All I know is this. Well, a lot of things I know, but in regards to Eric, his first big play was against Miami. He had a sack against the Dolphins. And he had a sack from the 3 technique, defensive tackle position, not end, tackle.
It's a hell of a play, too.
It's unbelievable. It was if you wanted to film that and show defensive tackles how to win for a sack, you would show that play. He schooled that guard like the guard he literally grabbed him, went over him, sacked the quarterback. It was like that.
That play made me think, because it was week 1.
Week 1.
That made me think that we had gotten another version of Calais back.
Right. It felt like Josh Hines-Allen, what did he say when he was brought here? I can't wait to play next to him. Did he not? I can't wait to play next to him. So, to me, is Ryan Nielsen that inept that he would make him play end? Okay, Doug might not be confrontational, so maybe Doug doesn't step in and say, you're crazy. He's got to play tackle. What are you talking about? I don't know why that didn't happen. But clearly, I mean, you could be in grammar school watching the Jaguars for the whole year and say, gosh, Eric Armstead is way better inside than outside. Couldn't you? Just by watching? You could. And again, I've said before, I'll say it, he was very good as an end against the run, no doubt. Not anywhere near as effective as a pass rusher from that end position. And everybody could see it from the beginning.
And to be honest,
from the beginning, Grant, I mean, remember he lined up outside. I think it might even be against Miami or the next game, and it took him forever just to get to the running back, who didn't step up. He just kind of stood there, and it was like, man, he got there so quick from the inside. It took him too long to get there from the out. It was clear as day. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, and to be honest about him against the run, in a system where the personnel is being utilized correctly, there's not really any, with the exception of maybe every now and again you need a blow or an injury, there's not really a first and second run heavy down where Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker are not going to be in the game.
Right.
So who cares how he is as an end against the run?
Right.
I don't want him in the game. I don't want him in the game as an end ever. But
if you need to spell, it'd be okay to slide him out for a play or
two.
I think that's okay.
It was very clear with the signing of Agba that ain't happening anymore.
Yeah, right.
Very clear.
Good call.
Because,
I love that signing.
Right, because what they did, and this was what made it so unbelievably aggravating. You and I on the show, other people, Jaguar fans, media, whatever, have been clamoring ever since Arden Key walked out the door.
Yep.
You need a third pass rusher.
Yep.
You need a third pass. They never signed one.
Yep.
To me, for the most part, when I saw Eric play end, it was when he was coming in as that third pass rusher.
Yep.
Well, who could have possibly predicted that might be a need?
Yep.
Oh, everyone? Oh, okay.
Right.
Except the general manager and the defensive coordinator? Oh, sweet.
Yep.
Well, that's cool. Such a big frustration to me is when there's a problem that everyone sees, Tommy, except the people in charge.
Yep.
And they're too arrogant to make that decision.
Yep.
And this past regime, for whatever reason, did not want to go sign that guy. I don't know why. I'll never know why. But it's not a coincidence that the new regime comes in. It's one of the first moves they make.
No, right. Agreed.
I mean, come on. It's one thing if it's something that not everyone knows or not everyone sees. You make a mistake. Even a draft pick that maybe everyone thinks is going to be good that doesn't pan. That happens a lot. Even good teams, that happens.
Yep.
But when there's something that's just so painfully obvious that you can tell the people in charge are just too arrogant to accept,
right.
It's so frustrating to me.
So, do you think, Eric went to the coach and said, I should play DT, and they're like, no, you're playing end? And maybe they did. I'm not saying they didn't, but gosh, it just blows me away that everybody was on that page. Like, what? Like, even Doug? Like, I'd be like, wait a minute. Time out. The kids. And this whole, like, well, we didn't know we had all these DTs. What are we going to do? This is a business. He's the best DT that they had last year. If he wants to play DT, he goes to number 1 DT. And the rest, whoever is at the end, gets lopped off. That's how it works. Or maybe you'd pick somebody else, but somebody's going.
Yeah. That's
just the nature of the beast. You still got a practice squad to put him on. You're not totally firing him, but you'd move him because you know it makes your team better. It just blows me away that I just can't understand that. I don't want to say I don't believe it because I don't want to call it. I'm not calling Eric. I don't want to say he's not telling the truth. I'm not saying that. I just can't believe that you as a D coordinator wouldn't know better. I mean, everybody in the world knew better. I mean, come on. And then you saw even during the year when they line up next to each other. He'd be next to Josh. He'd be next to Trayvon. That whole side would be kind of caving in the offensive line. Like, you're like, where's this all year? And then you throw Mason in there, and he started coming along. And listen, again, moving forward, we know where he's going to play. And that's where he needs to play the majority, if not all of the time. And I think if he does that, I agree with him that he will get back to that Pro Bowl, all-pro type player. He's a menace. He'd be bigger than this room, Grammage, and you couldn't hide around the table because he'd just grab you.
And
you know what I mean? But on the field, I'm sorry, he is that kind of presence inside, man. He is a tough block that it's not many guards can handle Eric Armstead one-on-one for the course of a game. They can't. He's too good. And then if you double him, guess what that does? Frees up somebody to go one-on-one with somebody. Maybe they're whooping their ass that day. Maybe Eric's whooping the ass. They got to try to shut him down, and guess what? Here comes Josh, and he starts doing it. The next thing you know, it opens up the other side because the back's got to go to the other side now. Take care of Josh. And Trayvon's like, oh, woo, one-on-one, awesome. Let's go, Mason. Let's go hunt, you know? That's how it all can work together. And then you get the DBs playing good ball. You know, like you said, listen, it's not rocket science. You can only cover for so long in the NFL. The guys are too good, especially in space. You can't cover a slot receiver for more than 3.5 seconds, probably. You know what I mean? They're going to break away from you. You may, if they run a deeper route, like a stem is longer, the vertical part is longer, maybe you can hang with them. But they do that, you're toast. It's so hard to react.
Right.
What's that?
When they start getting left and right.
Yeah, like when they go horizontal, like, man, that's really hard to defend, especially when you're in the middle of the field. So if I got pressure, they need to know, hey, man, I got about that ball's coming out. Any good quarterback's going to throw it out. If they know I'm one-on-one with the slot and they've run everybody else off, we used to do it with Christian Kirk, right? Run all the outside guys off, run the slot one-on-one. I'm going to bring some heat.
Create all that
space. Got to get it out quick. But as a defense, you're like, hey, man, you got to get there. You got to get there so I don't have to cover too long. I want him feeling that pressure before the is happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's hard to do. So you got to have the pressure.
The X factor on this defensive line, I know you're going to agree with me here because I think we both agree, and I think most people agree. Eric back inside full time 3 technique is going to be he's going to kick ass. We believe that.
Yep.
We believe in Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker. If Mason Smith is a player, if Mason Smith is somebody that guards and centers can't block, then all of a sudden you're going to have one of the best defensive lines in football, in my opinion.
I've been saying that, man. Because it could be very formidable.
Because you get this guy with the inside track record of Eric Armstead, and you get a guy that even last year and the times that he was inside was still kicking people's ass. You get what we all know and believe we have on the outside. Now all of a sudden, if I've got those 2 edge rushers that are giving tackles problems the whole game, and I'm caving the pocket inside, that you're going to ruin some quarterback days.
And by the way, we can throw Trayvon down and put in Agba on passing downs with Eric, with Josh. That's pretty impressive too. I tell you, I was everybody's very impressed with De'Ami Brown. There's no doubt. I'll tell you, that signing and Emmanuel Ogbah signing could be the two best acquisitions this team has made for this year and beyond. They could be those kind of players that we've been really, really wanting and hoping for. Another game breaker as a receiver, right? To add to the two game breakers we already have. Ogbah, that guy, listen, man, he was good with Detroit. He was good with Miami. He can rush the passer. He's a big guy. He can play the run. He can spell. He can help. He's going to be productive. Last week on Jaguars Today, Tony had a thing, like a poll about how many guys are going to have 5 sacks or more next year or this year. And I said 5. Josh and Trayvon will easily each have 5 at least. I said Eric will have more than 5 or more. They have to have at least 5. I said Eric will have 5 or more. I said Ogbah will have 5 or more. And I said, Smith would have 5 or more. So I got 5 guys making.
So basically the main suspects in the D-line.
Yeah. I think they're going to hunt pretty well, man. Look, it can be done. Look what Philly did with their D-line. They were 2 years ago, they were unbelievable in the sack department. And we saw what happens, what they did with Mahomes this past year, man. We know how important that is. So do we have the dogs to do that? I'll tell you what, if I write today, June 3rd, today June 3rd? Yeah. My biggest question is the O-line. Did they do enough on the O-line? Can they protect Trevor? Can they get the running game going? And can they give Trevor enough time to be effective week in and week out? Other than that, I feel good about the DBs. The linebackers are fine. I think they're going to be fine. The D-line we've been talking about. Running backs, they got a nice room there. Got plenty of targets, tight ends, plural, included. Safety, I feel pretty good about safety.
I think this is a good roster, Tommy. I don't know if it's a great roster.
It's okay. It doesn't have to be great. They got to play great.
I think
you can be good and play great. That's what they need to get to.
The glass half full size, everything you just said. Like I think Ross. I think they've bolstered a lot of weak areas. I think there's not many areas anymore. Maybe safety. Other than safety, there's not many areas anymore where I'm pretty concerned about. Like, they're pretty thin. I don't know personnel-wise what they're going to be, like, how they're going to match up. Safety, I would say I'm still a little bit worried about. I got to see a little bit more out of those guys. Eric Murray, he's a good player. They didn't exactly sign Ed Reed. You know what I mean?
Right.
With the other, I guess, glass half empty approach is, other than Brian Thomas Jr. and I would say Travis Hunter, but he's a rookie. We got to watch him on an NFL field first before we say this. There's not any superstars on this team. I don't believe.
I agree.
Yeah, and that's.
I agree. I think there's potential.
Yeah, 100%. 100% there's potential. Josh Hines Allen at this point should be a superstar.
If he did another 15 sacks last year instead of 8. He'd be a superstar. Yeah,
and then he's in the T.J. Watt, the Myles Garrett conversation. Yeah. I don't think he's there right now, and I think
I agree.
And
last year was not his best year.
Tyson Campbell's a good corner. He's not in the Sauce Gardner, Pat Surtain conversation.
He's got a lot to prove. Tyson does.
Tons.
Got to stay healthy.
And this isn't to say that to be a competitive, good playoff team, that the whole team's got to be littered with super. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, I wish. At this point in the offseason, looking towards the year, I wish there were maybe at least another just like guy or two that I know for a fact is going to keep opposing coordinators up at night. Yep. I know Brian Thomas Jr. is going to do that.
Oh, for sure.
There are going to be 17 defensive coordinators they play.
Yeah.
All right, sorry. They play the division. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
Every single defensive coordinator they play is going to be very worried that Saturday night before the game about Brian Thomas Jr., without a doubt. And hopefully Travis Hunter, that happens quick, I think.
Hopefully they're worried about Liam Cohen's play calling, that he's so good at it that, the superstars matter, but I'm going to make these guys stars.
Coaching can be a superstar in itself.
That's what I mean by potential. Yeah. I think they do. have that potential.
Like Sean McVay's coaching is a superstar for the Rams.
Yeah, for sure.
Or Kyle Shanahan for the Niners. Like,
yeah.
So, yes, I agree with that.
I'll say even the guy up in Minnesota, the way he
100%.
calls. Yeah.
Kevin O'Connell, 100%.
O'Connell, yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. So Liam's got to be that, where, he's utilized it. Look, this is his first year. I'm going to go back to that whole, like, when it's your first year, like, nobody knows what to expect other than what they got from another team that you were on the year before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe you surprise some people. It's the second year where they've been able to dissect you all off season to see if you can still keep it going. Now, we only care about 2025 right now, and I'm in that boat. I do expect, and there's newness. I think they got enough ability. If the O-line can hold up, and again, what I would like is stud left tackle. I would. It would make me, if Trent Williams was my left tackle, I would feel like, oh, man, this is awesome. Now, can you win with Walker Little? Yeah, you can. You can. Now, you may have to help him out from time to time. You may have to, the way you call pass plays, getting the ball out quick, dinking and dunking until you find that open shot, which is fine. Tom Brady made a career out of it. I mean, he would lull you to sleep half the time and then kill you deep. And you weren't ready for it. It's going to be a year of newness, and not just for us fans, but for the D coordinators that Liam's going to go against. Can he keep them off balance? It looked like he did last year, for the most part, And again, we know what goes into it. And by the way, back to like Tyson and what you're saying, like, but if you have the rush, you don't need the superstar. You don't need Sauce. Wouldn't everyone love Sauce? Look, I love it. By the way, I haven't seen him live, but the videos of Travis playing corner, he can really change direction pretty damn quick, that guy. He's pretty unbelievable and jump very high.
That's his
as well.
A receiver and corner,
Yeah.
that is his best athletic trait, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He can make dudes miss in a phone booth, man. Like, his short area burst and quickness and lateral quick is it's like, I know we throw the term generational, like, at least that is something that you don't see.
No, you could. He scored a touchdown yesterday. He made a nice move. They wouldn't have caught him. They wouldn't have tackled him in the open field. He's special. He's going to be special.
And he's so good at something he was unbelievable at in college. And I think this will translate, especially to our point earlier, if Trevor's putting the ball in the right spot. When he would run like hitches, and
right.
when you catch the ball in a hitch, you get that kind of half second before the DB gets there to try to do something, right? And your back's facing him, so you got some kind of spin or something, right?
Yep.
It almost felt, because I watched a lot of Colorado games, not just his highlights, like just watching the game in general.
No, right.
It almost felt like that first DB would never get him. And they would usually not even touch him.
Right.
And NFL DBs are obviously much better.
I know what you're saying.
But I still think that's a skill that will it doesn't change the fact that when you catch the ball, if you're really, it's almost like an NBA player with a post move. Getting that one shake one way, coming back the other. Like, he is elite at that. And that turns a 5-yard gain into 15 yards, 20 yards.
For sure. You still got to make that block, though, because if they jump the read, they're going to make the tackle. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if the ball's not out quick enough. Here's what I'm thinking. Like, if Travis could shut down number 2 as a corner, like, just take him out of the picture, you know how huge that would be? You know what I mean? Because, again, my only – and I'm not really concerned. I just want to see how it's going to work. Like, how is that chemistry, how is that flow going to work when he's in a corner and whoever's starting there is out? Right? How's that all going to come together? But if it's him just taking out number 2, like he's that good as a corner. Now, you not only you, but a lot of people say in college he would struggle a little bit when he had to press. He's better in zone.
He struggles against size.
Reacting, right?
So size is what really, in my estimate, when he went against dudes that were 6'4", 6'5", and had size to him, that was when he
tough
would,
for him to press.
Yeah.
Probably did the open gate and run with him, which he could probably run with just about anybody.
Yeah.
But if he could be that effective as a corner now you're like, man, the creativity you could bring to the table as a defensive coordinator. You know what I mean? And then maybe, you get Jarian out there and him out there. When you go 6, when you go dime, right? It'd be interesting. But that could be, look, I think on offense they're going to be fine as far as the weaponry. But if he could do that on defense, man, that would be pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, seeing what he can do. Again, I've said it on radio too. I'm to the point now where I don't need him to play corner. I'm not going to sit there and be like, Gladstone, you said I don't. Score me touchdowns on offense, and I'm happy. You know what I mean? And if whatever you do on defense, it's great, that's icing on the cake for me. I don't
agree.
You know what I mean?
I totally agree.
I know what James said. Hey, he's the number one corner. He's the number one receiver. He's going to draft number one. Whatever. I don't care. All I want him to do is to make my quarterback better, my quarterback make him better, and him score double-digit touchdowns.
And don't rush something unnecessarily, I think, too. That'll be – I trust the staff to make those good decisions. Yeah. But what I mean by that is, like, we see a lot of guys, especially in their rookie year, we see a lot of guys on either side of the ball maybe not do certain things week 1 that they're capable of doing week 10.
Yeah.
Well, like maybe it's the first month or so of the season he's playing basically every down on offense and it's pretty sparingly on defense. Yeah. And then as time evolves, he gets more time in the system.
Yeah.
He kind of continues the growth and development from training camp on into the season. Yep. Maybe by week 8, he's playing almost every series or whatever. Yep. It's just I think we would be a little bit naive to think that, week 1 he's going to play every down. But like I don't think that's super realistic. But I think this staff will do a good job of easing him into whatever that maximum potential is.
Yeah, I agree. But we also have to think about his own chemistry, his own flow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, think about, like, if he's playing receiver, right, and they go 3 and out, couldn't he flip over to corner right away and just be like, all right, I'm ready to play corner?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that could be a 7-8 play series, whatever it is. Maybe it's 3. You know what I'm saying? I mean, listen, this guy's in great condition. There's no doubt. A lot of those guys are, but he's in great condition. You can tell. He looks like he can run forever, like just take off and run, like Forrest Gump. He'd be freaking running all over America. You know what I mean?
He'll have like an 80-yard touchdown. He's not tired.
No, not tired at all. Yeah. It was nothing. He barely even tried. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's that kind of guy. So realistically, I could see him doing that, and by that flow of his own is like getting into that groove, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm on defense. Now I'm on offense. Man, this is awesome. Like, it's my dream. You've been dreaming. He's been wanting this forever, and then he does it, and you're like, okay. And as long as it fits on defense, it could be a tremendous weapon. And I know the history and all that. That's great, but I'm just talking about helping our team. Like, that could be tremendous. Now, I got to believe that to see it, but I could see that kind of scenario. Now, you go on a long touchdown drive, and he's had 3 catches. He's had the run, break tackles. He might be a little winded. Maybe he doesn't go out there that next series on defense as a corner, right?
Or at least the first couple of plays.
Yeah, right. You get him out there if it's third and whatever. I don't know. Again, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know exactly what they're going to do. Is it going to be – people are speculating it's going to be red zone, more red zone. It's going to be third down. I don't know, but I just – think of that scenario I just did in your head. You go 3 and out on offense, he can flip right over. That's no big deal. Like 3 plays.
Yeah.
And maybe he only had to block for 1. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was barely a block. He just got in the guy's way. Like
something even, I think arguably the most value he brings in his ability to play both, Tommy, is even before they even start playing any games, think about like roster cuts.
Yeah.
Because now I've got a guy that I know is going to be high up on my depth chart at corner and receiver. Tommy, that extra roster spot what if that's an extra guard that ends up being a stud?
Yeah, right.
What if that's an extra tackle? What if that's whatever?
Yeah.
Like there's a tight end in camp that really comes on that they didn't expect that normally they'd have to cut, but they can keep around or whatever. Like
right.
that extra spot when spots are so finite.
Right.
I mean, you know this. With the guys that start in camp, they basically have to cut that in half.
Right, but he's not going to play every down, so you're still going to have that other guy.
Sure, but like,
you know what I mean?
But what I'm saying is, okay, so they drafted him. He's going to play primarily receiver, right? We all agree he's wide receiver 2, right?
Okay,
pretty much.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, but we know he's going to play corner at least a decent. So at worst, he's what, CB4 at very worst.
Yeah.
And I think he's higher than that. Between
I think so too.
Campbell, Jordan Lewis,
he's
Jarrin
1
Jones.
and he's 4.
Right. Yeah. So that probably means, maybe not. I think Buster Brown's a good enough player. They'll keep him. But, like, the guys below that, like, probably not going to be on the team versus if Travis Hunter played no corner, they might make a spot for that guy. That's what I mean.
Right. Well, I think you're going to hide that guy on the practice squad for a little while and then bring him up. You can't bring him back down once you bring him up because someone will snatch him.
Right.
And once he shows that he can start or play.
Yeah.
But
like, what if there's a guy
that's part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the whole package with Travis Hunter. It's funny, people complaining about him dancing at practice. I mean, his shadow boxing is weak. That's not how you shadow box, but he was just having fun out there. Who cares? By the way, I love music at practice. I would have loved music at practice. I mean, when you work, I don't know about you, I jam music in my butt. Like, I'm cranking it, man, and I am so into it when I'm lifting or when I'm – some people might think I'm nuts because I feel like I'm singing, I'm air guitar, I'm into it. Go for a run. Jamming the tunes, being out there by the ocean, feeling God's presence and just rocking out. It's tremendous. I could only imagine at practice. It gives you the spring. It gives you this is.
It is so stupid to me when people get weird. Like, people get weird about him vibing out and having fun at practice. First of all, he's been there the whole time and he's been making plays.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting there doing that and then not making any plays, different.
Right.
Secondly, God forbid someone in Jacksonville on this team have some energy for once.
No doubt.
God forbid somebody show up with some mojo and some swag and ensure that the practice isn't going to be flat as hell.
No, right.
Because it's
contagious.
Yes, I was just about to say that. Like,
totally
how many times? Because right now is OTAs. Okay, everything's new. Nobody's in pads. It's not. Let's fast forward to training camp week 3 on a Wednesday, and everyone's exhausted and dog tired, whatever. Yep. And Travis is out there before he runs a route 1-on-1 or something, and he's dancing, having fun, and he's maybe talking a little mess. Maybe that hypes up Jarrin Jones, and his next reps are better.
Let's go.
You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
That is such a stupid. Rising. That's such a stupid. Like, God forbid someone come out with some energy and get the team going.
I'll tell you what else is contagious: the weight room.
Yeah.
You get in the weight room, guys will be like, maybe I should be over there doing some working out, I tell you, I told this story before. Now, I think this was our first year. Me and Boyer, on Fridays after practice, we're usually done around 1 or it was early, we would do arms. It's Friday before a Sunday game, right? Wanted our arms to look good. So for like couple weeks, it was just him and I. And then all of a sudden, Loggeman joins. And we're doing, doing the tries, we're doing the buys. It was like a 15, 20-minute workout. We weren't in there for very long. Then James Stewart comes over. Baselli gets into it. So we had to it's contagious. Guys running on treadmills after practice. You'd be like, man, maybe I better do that. Maybe I better keep up with my conditioning. That kind of thing. So, totally agree. Like, it is contagious, that kind of stuff. Bees was like that. Bees would come out all fired. Beasley was like, it was a game time. And he'd be like, he's having a party. He's having fun. He's competing. He's going after it. Don't get me wrong. There are doldrums of practice. There are. And they, sometimes like, how am I going to do this practice, But I tell you what, music makes it better.
Or guys on the team manufacturing some of that energy.
Yeah.
The coaches can yell at you till they're blue in the face about you got to work, blah, blah, blah. That you know this time you played, that falls on deaf ears after a while. But if you're a DB and Travis is saying, I want you, I'm about to cook you.
Yep.
Even if it's in the middle of training camp, if you have any competitive inch in your body, you're like, oh, hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah, right.
And now all of a sudden that rep is so much better than it would have been.
Absolutely. That
rep was going to be going through the motion, just getting through it. Now it's competition.
It's like after a little fight in practice.
Yes.
The intensity for that next play, especially if you're in pads, and especially if it's 11 on 11, that intensity for the next couple plays is pretty awesome. I mean, it is. Whether you were involved in the fight or not, it's like, all right, I guess it's go time. I know we're practicing, but I guess it's time to, play like a game. And then everyone's fired up to get after it. It's awesome. And it is contagious. Now, you don't want anyone getting hurt or nothing like that, but it gets you fired up. I think music's a brilliant idea. I really do, man. You know how I feel about music. That's going to be great. Speaking of which, Dad Bodge back in action. Not this weekend, but next Saturday night, June 14th, at the Local in Neptune Beach. Come on out. We packed the house out there last time, and it's going to be a good time. We're trying to do my original song. We're gonna rehearse next week, and we'll see if we can pull it off at the Local, which I hope we can, but we'll see. Sometimes it doesn't all come together right away, but we're going to work on it. I keep hearing people are going to the 40th celebration of Nancy Dance Studios and the ballet Beauty and the Beast, of which, if you can't tell, my hair's growing out for the part. For Gaston, it's this Sunday. Actually, it's Saturday and Sunday. Rehearsals Friday. Baby shows Saturday. We got 2 of them. And then the big show on Sunday at 2 o'clock.
40 years. That's crazy.
40 years.
My sister went to Nancy Dance, so I've been to many of those recitals.
Yeah, they're great recitals. They really are. Nancy puts on a great show, and she's got 100 alumni coming back to dance in the second act. So it'll be fun. And my wife and my 2 older girls, they've been rehearsing like crazy at the house, going up to the studio because they want to perform it. They want to do it right. And my Harley did give me some. She gave me a tip yesterday. She's Lumiere, the candlestick, and she said, "Dad, when you do the 3 poses, in the tavern scene, and everyone goes after each pose goes, ooh." She's like, really do it. Like, really show them your muscle. She's like, you know what you should do? She goes, do this one, then do this one, and then do this one. I was like, you know what I'm going to do? She's like, well, tell me again. What are you going to do? I said I'm going to do this. And I redid it for her. She's like, all right, that'll be good. So I'm gonna make sure I do the flexing the right way. But it will be a great time. I hope whoever's coming out, I was told they only got balcony seats available now. So we're going to have a big show. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be a great year-end recital like it always is. So let's see. We'll be back later in the week on Friday, of course, for Catching Up with Tommy Mack, in Grammage, 9 a.m. If things change, we'll let you know. Of course, Jaguars today, 10 to 12 noon, each and every Friday, and the Horse's Mouth on Thursday. I think Coach Campo is back, so looking forward to having Coach back and talking all things Jags from Tommy Mack's at the Bar. Thanks to everybody for watching, listening, catching this show. We really appreciate it. Thanks to Grammage. Thanks to Team Tommy Mack and to 1010XL. Y'all have a great, great Suck It Up Tuesday. It's a work day. What are you going to do? You know what? When work's over, you can go have some fun. How about that? But put in the time now so you can leave early on Friday. You know what I'm saying? All right, till next time. Stay safe and be cool. Be cool and stay safe. We'll see you right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mack. Peace.
Hey, Mia here, and thanks so much for watching 1010XL Jaguars. For even more coverage of the Big Cats, be sure to subscribe to 1010XL Jaguars.